Part 1. Preliminary outline, defined and revisited throughout the musication as a praxis approach, a sample of pedagogy but not limited to. To set out in Part 3, how a reasonable adjustment is to be identified for the purposes of paragraphs 4.23c, 5.23c, 7.2, 3c, or 7.2, Specifically, identify standards in action within the workplace through depicting compliant/non-compliant application of education delivery. The Disability Standards of Education, DSE 2005, applies to all providers of education at every level, at all locations. Education providers are bound by the standards, and further discussions will be outlined throughout this film. So the 1.3 objects of these standards are: A. To eliminate, as far as possible, discrimination against persons on the ground of disability in the area of education and training. Furthermore, B. Is to ensure, as far as practicable, that persons with disabilities have the same rights to equality before the law in the area of education and training as the rest of the community. Following, Object C. To promote recognition and acceptance within the community of the principle that persons with disabilities have the same fundamental rights as the rest of the community, but not limited to. In these standards, unless the contrary intention appears. In addition, certain terms are the definitions of terms in the Act apply to the standard, under the Acts Interpretation Act 1901. Discrimination means under DDA 1992 Section 5. 1, 2, 3. 1. For the purposes of this Act, a person, discriminator, discriminates against another person, the aggrieved person, on the ground of a disability of the aggrieved person if, because of the disability, the discriminator treats, or proposes to treat, the aggrieved person less favorably than the discriminator would treat a person without the disability in circumstances that are not materially different.
Hurry up, Dwayne, we're doing our assessment in M Block because it has the video recorder set up here. We need to watch my video so you can do your assessment. Hurry up, I got reports to write, so get into class now.
But how can I get up there? I got severe muscular dystrophy and I can't get.
Mrs. Discrimination, he has to be in a wheelchair permanently. You can't do this, anyway. Why aren't we in our own class? It has the low ramp especially for him. Why are you doing this to him? You can't do this to Casey. Hey miss, make Mrs. Discrimination listen, she can't do this to him.
Fortunately, in my teaching career, I have, like most of us in the profession, experienced seeing a colleague with the best of intentions to be a great teacher overlook their students due to intense time frames, assessment and reporting season. So who was not complying to the standards? Was it Mrs. Discrimination? Or was it me? Times like this, being popular or like takes a back seat. I will never fail like I did that day. Being a bystander is just as bad. I just could not believe what I was seeing or hearing in the 21st century. Hey Luke, I know you're Casey's best friend. In the previous incident, how did you feel? Okay Casey. In the previous incident, how did you feel? Okay. Ivor Discrimination. In the previous incident, how did you feel? Was there anything happening in your day that could have contributed to the earlier incident? Is there anything you would do differently?
Just felt so overwhelmed that morning, trying to get all my assessments done in time, especially while I have no one away. Next time, I will think things through with Casey in mind. Unfortunately, when Luke went to music he was already heightened and trashed the room. I will have to talk to Brad, our principal, and explain how this all could have been easily avoided.
Once you have time, it is really important that you reflect. Don't be hard on yourself, just think of some strategies. The special education program staff are not the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. So make an appointment with the hose and they will be able to support you with resources, arrange for equipment and so much more.
Oh, you can just join the rest of the class. Get off the laptop now. I said now, you are not leaving the room until you show me better behavior. Well, I don't care about your sensory plan. I said move.
So let's look at the antecedent. Things that could have been a contributing factor for Blaine escalating and eventually reaching a heightened state. As soon as the teacher had given everyone in the class a sign to stop, what could she have done previous to that? Set a timer for Blaine negotiating his soothing time? Provide an advance of what will happen first, next, after, last? Keep discussing your findings to minimize triggers, preempt low registration of sensory and restorative justice for this scenario.
Thank you for watching. Remember, apart from their families, we are their next best advocate for our students who identify under the Disability Standards Education 2005.